I thought Wes was sharp, and you've heard me talk about self-contained relief. When it's a tight game, like any traffic, you're almost in a relief type situation. So it was a stressful day for him pitching, and I thought, there was some traffic in scoring position in the middle part of his outing, and I saw that velocity creep up, and I think he started to grab some 93s and some 94s. Good to see. Threw some good sliders, some good curveballs. I don't think his changeup was in play as much today as it might have been in the previous starts, but again, Mike is so good at feeling through what his guys are doing well that day and utilizing that. So Wes did great. Ben navigated the bunt defense things, and we haven't been in some of those situations, so it was good to see us execute some of the first and second bunt D stuff. I know Kinnear didn't handle the one, but we'll learn from those things. But Ben did navigate it, and then Prescott I thought was exactly what we needed. And when you have some depth, if certain guys may not have it or have seemed to come unglued a little bit, we have the flexibility to go get somebody else, and there's some dynamic arms lurking in that bullpen, and that's a luxury, and we clearly needed every one of them today. Offensively, I feel like we continue to press a little bit. The base running, there was a ball off the screen in right field. We were almost working back in a tagging type position versus being halfway where you could walk home. The line drive that we got doubled off on, not fundamentally sound stuff. And I even think we had some base stealing opportunities that we didn't really capitalize on. But you have Myles, who delivers his at-bats all weekend. We're very good, and he continues to mature through pitch selection. And I don't need to explain the power and the quality of impact with that guy. I think the one he hit, the game winner, was 115 miles an hour. And in the TrackMan era in college, you don't see that. I don't know what the bat will allow, but that's got to be pushing the upper end of it. And that was even I think that was a changeup that he hit. So proud of his at-bats. We were fighting a little bit. I felt like we were a little bit sluggish today. It was an 11 a.m. start, but they were clearly energetic and into it. And I think Georgetown's got a good team, and they had a good plan and managed things well all weekend. So they're going to win a lot of games, and we were very fortunate to win this one today.
You talked a little bit more about Myles' at-bats. The hits were impressive, but the two walks he drew, I believe they were 0-2 counts to start, and he was able to draw a walk. And as a freshman, true freshman, doing that, how impressive is that? It's
really impressive. His perception and recognition of the pitches is advanced, especially for a freshman. But the vision and the ability to manage the in, out, up, and down, and we talk about front to back as there's speed differentials and changes. Sometimes management of slowing things down to make contact or to make a later take decision, that requires vision, and he has it. I think his swing has continued to just simplify, and as you get into the competitive situations, we do have video and things we can lean on a little bit to continue to try to teach the guys, and Ty and Brad do a nice job of helping and showing and displaying some of the things they're doing well and some of the things that they need to work on, whether it's pitch selection or swing or any number of things that go into the at-bats. But Myles is advanced, Carnes is advanced, BJ's advanced, and you saw three pretty talented freshmen in the middle of the game today.
You kind of talk about BJ's week. Obviously, he had a good series, but against Jacksonville, he also showed up, and he got put into a situation yesterday where he's coming in the middle of the game. Just, you talked about it, but not playing baseball for a year, coming in with that maturity, what does it say about him?
He really, really enjoys playing and competing in baseball, and I'm sure it's the same thing on the football side. The fine motor skills required to do this sport when you haven't done it in a while, I can't tell you how difficult that is. It's not something it was hard enough for me when I was trying to do it every single day, not to mention putting it down for the better part of the year. So I've told you he works at it, like he's very serious, he's very intense, like he wants to be out there. And you don't ever like to see guys banged up, like Chase Williams and Delamalure and Bladen Plain and some of the other outfielders that are dinged up a little bit. You don't wish that on anybody, but that's a natural part of athletics. And when next man up gets their chance, like he's ready. And even though he hadn't had some of the reps of preparation that the rest of college baseball's had, you could tell that he's been thinking about it and engaged and worked at it very hard to kind of get to the starting line, even though his starting line was down the racetrack a little bit further than the rest. So I can't say enough about his makeup and how hard he competes at this.
It feels like the slider is the pitch for Wes that's developed the most since he's been here. So how big of strides have you seen him make with that pitch?
I would agree with you, and I just think the command, I look back at some of the outings in the fall, and the command and being able to lean on any particular pitch. When he started out today and the fastball was down, I reflect back to some of the starts he had in the fall when it might have been up. But he was able to make the adjustment, the wholesale adjustment to keeping that thing down under the zone and then working from there. And yeah, the slider has been good. I think he flipped the breaking ball in there. I don't think he ever really had a sense of the changeup today. There were some, but I don't think it was as much as maybe some of the other starts. But slider effective, overall fastball command and confidence for what he's doing. And the stuff got better when it needed to get better. That's the most critical part of being a starting arm, is when you get into those little jams, can you ratchet it up a tick to get out of those jams to extend the start? And he absolutely did it.
You and Mike, I know, talked about kind of wanting to challenge relievers, have them be multi-inning guys. With the depth you have, I mean, is there a time maybe you consider going more one-inning stints, or do you kind of think that the multi-inning and having guys who can do that is still kind of the path forward?
We're still trying to figure it out. You know, I feel like as good as it has been, there have been times where we've gotten out of some things, and then now it's a clean inning, and we've created another problem for ourselves, which we just came in and got out of. So why that is, I don't have an answer. I will just tell you, when you feel that it's not headed in the right direction, to have other guys that are prepared to come in, that's really what makes the pitching staff a staff. And we're going to have to continue to mature in some of those areas. It's not the first time where somebody has gone out and had an effective 2/3 of an inning and then has recreated some problems out of a clean inning. So how the stints develop, I don't know. I'm just trying to do the best I can to feel it out, and if you feel like you need to make a change, make it. And I don't know if a one-inning stint is the answer. I don't know yet. I'm still trying to feel it out. But I will say the response for the guys that have needed to come in and help has been positive.
Coach, you mentioned, 4 strikeouts today, 4 strikeouts yesterday, but you also mentioned guys kind of pressing a little bit at the plate right now. How do you feel are the quality of the at-bats? You mentioned last week you wanted to see better quality of at-bats. Just going throughout the week, do you think that you're starting to see kind of a turn in the corner right now for the lineup?
No. Unfortunately, I don't. And it's hard for me to watch some of the at-bat execution against our own pitching staff, which we know is pretty good. And I've seen really good at-bats leading up to the season off of our own arms, which I feel like are pretty dynamic. If you have a lot of weapons, left-handed and right-handed, we have to get over the hump of trying to do a little bit too much. I feel like there's guys that are pressing and feel like they have to answer with stats and home runs and that sort of thing. And you have to internalize and try to manage the process of the at-bat, and then the other things that you want to happen will happen because of how talented they are. And we're clearly pressing. Today was probably the worst of the days of it. I still think that it will move forward, but no, it hasn't really flipped on yet. There were situational things today. I questioned my own decision making a little bit on to, do you bump Thoreau there, first and second over the out? But it seemed like such a good matchup for him batting left-handed with what was on the mound. So some of that may be on me, and maybe I need to push some different buttons to try to create some things or allow an executional moment to open up a bigger inning for us. But we have to be better. It is a little bit of a concern right now. And I would like the short game weaponry to be there, and we didn't run the bases at a high level today. So other than sporadic at-bats, Gage, big at-bat, Myles, big at-bat, and there were other guys that had some good ABs, but holistically, not quite good enough.
The play that Drew made moving to his left in the ninth there, just how difficult of a play was that to make?
Tough. The angle of pursuit into shallow right field, it was just a great pursuit angle, like brilliant ranging jump, depth, closing on it. Didn't try to do too much before he caught the ball. And then to gather yourself, knowing the first baseman, your first baseman on that ball may actually lean into the four hole a little bit when that ball's hit. He doesn't know initially if he needs to go after that himself. So to give Myles a chance to get back and then to drive the throw over there, not try to flip it sidearm, he did a great job. That was a very key play, and it was required because it seemed like every time we grabbed a little momentum, they seemed to recapture it, and that play was on the verge of adding that again in the ninth. So well done. BJ's play late in the game, good play. Carnes to throw in the first inning. The one slider I think Ben Barrett threw that Carnes kind of smothered and knocked down. I think the go-ahead run might have been at third base. Fisher made a nice play. So there wasn't a ton of defense to be had, but for the most part, when we needed some of those things to happen, they happened.
Coach, 5 games next week. Just how do you manage that with kind of how big up you guys are right now?
It's a good question. We have to figure out, Crest clearly is kind of groomed to start, and Mike and I will figure out what the right day for that is, and who we try to start. I've got to think through some downtime for them. Like we usually have some lifting throughout the course of the week, and this will be the first time that it's lengthened out. And I did feel like today we were a little bit tired for whatever reason. So I need to think through how we manage it. There's only so much we can do with the guys that are banged up. Like everybody's here to play, and there's going to be guys that are out on that field that are going to play a lot of innings this week. And that's why they're here, and I'll do my best to kind of help them manage the workload and the reps so that they're as fresh as they can possibly be.